It's not possible.
I didn't say it would be easy, Neo.
All right, we are back in session. Good, Mr. Barrera?
Hello.
Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and DOC number.
My name is Ramiro Barrera, DOC number 734469.
All right, very good. Mr. Barrera, my name is Cheryl Renatza. Seated to my left is Mrs. Ledoux, and to my right is Mrs. Stapleton. I'm going to read some information into the record and ask you to confirm it. Then I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Stapleton. Your case has been assigned to her. She'll take the lead on the unit. Okay. We have joining us, I think you can see on the screen, we have your father, Mr. Arturo Barbera, and he wants to speak also on your behalf. We'll ask him at the appropriate time to do so. So Mr. Ramiro Barrera, you're classified as a first felony offender. You're currently serving a 12-year sentence. You were sentenced in Calcasieu Parish, May of 2018. For carnal knowledge of a juvenile and or intimidating or impeding or injuring witness. So it's a total of 12 years. Your parole eligibility was May 24th, 2021, and you have a good time date, February 19 of 2027. Is that information correct?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, would you answer Mrs. Stapleton, please?
Mr. Barrera, one thing I wanted to ask you about with the charges that was brought against you in this case. I've got carnal knowledge of a juvenile and intimidating, impeding, or injuring the witnesses. The carnal knowledge of juvenile, I have that she was 14 years old when this happened. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Okay. I have that the mother found naked pictures of yourself and other men on the phone being sent to the child. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Did you have sex with the child? Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. And then later the child said that she thought she was pregnant. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And then you went over there with the gun, and did you shoot up the house or anything? Or they said there was 9 bullets shot.
Yeah, I shot in the air.
So was that just to say, because to the mother, she better drop the charges because here you are and you have a gun, which you shouldn't have had anyway?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It was dumb. I was out of my mind. I wasn't thinking straight. But you are correct. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, I see. I mean, we're going to talk about the classes that you've done. You've done the classes. I see that you did the sex offender classes. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Is there anything you'd like to tell me about? See, when I was reading it, it said other men were involved with this. Do you know anything about that?
No, man, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, just yourself. Okay. Well, you've done, tell me the programs you take. I know what I'm reading. You just tell me what programs you've taken and what you think you got out of them that would change your life.
Well, I took all the phase classes for the cognitive behavioral sex offender treatment. And that was a big help in giving me the tools necessary to recognize the risks, know the risk factors, and assess situations at risk levels, things like that, so I can know when I'm at risk or be able to prevent things happening in the future. That's what I got from that one. And I do AANA. I do general membership. I go every month for that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Alcoholics and Narcotics Anonymous, that's a big one. I completed the 12-step sponsor group. So that was a really important one for me too. They taught me a lot about making amends and Um, just trying to do better and always keeping myself in check, trying to do the right thing basically, and to stay clean and sober because sobriety is real important. And especially now to me after everything that happened to me, because basically because I was under the influence. But yeah, I'm big on that. And I did anger management, victims awareness, thinking for a change, living in balance, which is our substance abuse program here. I got a Serve Safe certification for managerial skills in the restaurant industry. Celebrated recovery, which is like a faith-based recovery program. Navigators program, Bible telling instructor. The Hearts program, which is healing and eliminating abusive relationships through scripture. And I did, even on my own, outside of David Wade, I did a criminal course, which is something that I just found on my own, trying to reach out and do other things. And I got one certificate from there. It was the way to happiness is basically just learning virtues and morals and things like that, how to be a better person.
That's were you sentenced to 12 years? Is that correct? And how many years have you been incarcerated?
I was sentenced to 12 years, 8 for the carnal knowledge and 4 for the intimidating the witness. I've done 7.
All right. If you could speak to your victim right now, what would you want to say to her and her mother? Because she was frightened too. She was frightened with the gunfire.
If I could speak to them now, I just tell them that I'm truly, deeply, very, very sorry for what I put them through, what I've done, and I just want to ask their forgiveness because I should have never put them through that. They don't deserve that, and I don't even know. I just hope they can forgive me. I'm sorry. That's all I can really tell them. That I meant no disrespect, and I'm sorry for any fear or mental pain that I've caused them or anything like that. That's out of my character. I've never done anything like that before, and I'm just truly very deeply sorry. I wish I wouldn't have never done that.
Okay, I'm going to pass the questioning over to Ms. Reynolds. Thank you very much.
Mr. Barrera, I see even though I said your master prison record shows you're a first offender, I do see a prior sentence imposed in Texas, 5 years for evading arrest or detention with a vehicle or watercraft. What is that?
I was evading arrest charge that I picked up in Texas when I was younger.
What does that have to do with the watercraft?
Watercraft?
Says evading arrest.
Wasn't on a boat. I was in a car.
In a car. I guess that was just so detention with a vehicle.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's just more on the descriptive side of the crime on paper, maybe.
And you mentioned your AA work and your desire to remain clean and sober. And I noticed somewhere in the record, it seems as though that you blame this crime involving this 14-year-old girl. You claim to have relapse after 10 years of sobriety. So what was the trigger, you think, that made you relapse?
I was going through a lot. I had a lot of pressure on me. I was having problems at home with my wife on different levels. She was sick. She was very, very moody and I was really struggling with that because I was really scared for her because she was so sick and nobody knew what it was. And we would take her to the hospitals and they would give her a sandwich and a orange juice and tell her that she's fine and she just needs to rest. And I was so frustrated with that, and seeing her go through all this suffering and pain day after day was really wearing me down. And at the same time, I had a lot of time on my hands because I was in between contracts from work. I had 2 months in between my contract, and so I had a lot of time and money, and I was worried about this and I was worried about that, and just I kind of had a lot of pressure on me. And to be totally honest with you, there's no excuse for the relapse, but one day I just got it in my mind that I just need a break. I'm dealing with too much right now. It's a little bit too much for me. I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I went out to a bar, and one thing led to another. I found some drugs, and I started doing drugs, and I just kept doing them. And that was 12 years, 10, 12 years sobriety down the drain right there. Just because I couldn't handle the pressure. It was a lot of pressure.
Or when you were sober for 10 or 12 years, how were you maintaining your sobriety then? Were you going to meetings? How were you doing that?
I would go periodically to meetings, and my wife, really, to be honest with you, my wife was the one that kept me in check. She was the one that made me want to be better and be the best that I could be, so I could give her a better life and support her. So really, my mind was not on drugs and alcohol at all. My mind was like on building my life, getting a house and supporting my family, try to build a family because we're trying to have children. And that was my main focus.
Do you have any children?
I do not, because my wife unfortunately had urinary cancer, and she was unable to have children. So we found out about that after my incarceration. Yeah. So that's why we didn't have kids, but we did try for a few years there.
And so you were married at the time of this crime also, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, I was.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. So do you have any?
I just wanted to know, where would you live if you were released on parole?
Well, right now, I plan to live with my father in Corpus Christi, Texas.
And you and your wife are not together?
My wife, unfortunately, has passed away. She passed away in March. Yep.
So you would be seeking an out-of-state contract to go to Corpus Christi?
Yes, ma'am.
Warden Dozat, can you offer anything?
Ma'am. Yeah, I wanted to just offer a little bit about Mr. Barrero. He hasn't had any write-ups at all, but he's been a good inmate here as far as his behavior goes. He's also very respectful. I will note he's also very respectful with staff, which, you know, we can all appreciate. We did apply for the interstate compact transfer, but it was denied, and I believe there was a miscommunication with the time in which they went out to check the property. So classification's been working with them to try to get that ball rolling again. However, we've also explored some different options, and as of right now, we are pending a approval with Tara Dupree with the Foundation Recovery House, and that's in Shreveport as an option. We haven't heard back from that, but we should be hearing back sometime, hopefully before the end of the week. And we're still working with probation and parole out of Texas to try to get that interstate compact process going again for him.
Do you all have experience with that Foundation Recovery House?
Yes, ma'am, we have not a lot of experience, but we've had a few, and then we've also had some through the BDCC programs that has discharged, that they've had some success with it.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. I think, yeah, your father is on the Zoom, Mr. Arturo Barrera. We'd like to hear from you, sir.
We can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Ramiro's father, and I'm the one that basically compact commerce, it was approved. Basically, everything was going fine. The house was in the right place, and the utilities were on. That I had everything lined up. What happened was a miscommunication between me and the parole officer. We had the first meeting in our home, and that's where I verified that we was in the right track with the house location and all the requirements. Except when it came down to the second meeting, he had told me, okay, it's gonna be on a Wednesday, and then he said, but if you put out, because I told him the landlord was gonna go in there and work on some plumbing, right? So on a Wednesday, so he said, okay, if you prefer, we'll do it on a Thursday, 7:30. Okay, so we got into that date, and then on that Thursday, I had a service call because I'm a mechanic and I do calls on the side of the road, right? So I had a call at 5:30, and I said, well, I'll go to this call, get back by 6 o'clock, 6:30, be at the house. Somewhere down the line, either either he was there too early or I was there 2 minutes too late, somewhere on there. And that was where the miscommunication happened. Next thing I know, my boys calling me that they had called the parole board over there that it was denied for that reason. But it wasn't denied because the house was not in the right location or nothing was out of place. It was just because of that meeting that I missed, basically, because if the man went, he went, right, and I wasn't there. But I'm confident if we do and we apply for another compact, it's gonna go through because in the first meeting he had basically already told me, okay, we're good here. I just need to come back one more time and make sure everything's in order. Your utilities, your stove, your washer, the place because I was currently renting in another place, but it wasn't where Ramiro could be, so I had to go find another place, which is this house, and it got a little bit complicated for me. Not in the sense that I couldn't comply with everything that needed to be done. It was just that one morning that I wasn't there, and I know it's not nobody's fault but mine because I could have just said I'm not going to take this call and just waited there, but the bills, financial responsibility. So I took a chance and I went took that service call, and either I was 2 minutes late because it was at 7:30 and I was there at 7:32, and I waited, and then the day went by, and I tried to get in contact with a parole officer, but no more
Mr.
response.
Barrero, we're
And
having
then,
some,
yes, ma'am.
breaking up a little bit for us, so let me just, the plan would be that, your son would live there at your home.
Yes, yes,
Okay, that's what we needed to know. Thank
yes.
you. Ramiro, is there anything you'd like to say to us before we vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my case. I hope you can understand my humbleness, my honesty, shame, remorse, and regrets for the crimes I committed. I have rehabilitated myself through the programs available to me, and I will not stop here. I plan to continue to better my life and myself. I'm a changed, drug-free, God-fearing man, and I know that I can't change the past, but I've taken the right steps to ensure that I won't reoffend in the future. I now have the right tools and knowledge to be able to identify triggers and risky situations to prevent reoffending and to be a productive member of society and a good family member. My time in prison has shown me that men condition themselves to choose between two paths upon release. One path is to return to a life of vice. The other is the path towards virtue. I reject my past life of vice and I choose to pursue a life of virtue. Prison life is a life of deprivation. I have skills that my family and friends needed, but I deprived them of the help I could have provided because I committed a crime, and for that I am also truly very sorry. While I've been here, I've suffered many losses. Many of my family members have passed away, including my dearly beloved wife, who battled cancer for many years, as you already know. My mother, grandmother, and father have growing health concerns, and they want me there, and I want to be there to give them aid and comfort. One comfort to my father has the dual benefit of helping him with his work, which he needs very much. He's always telling me how much he needs me to go help him work. Isn't that right, Dad? And it gives me the opportunity to take over his business like he wants, because he feels like his time is short with us. My brothers and sisters also, and many other members of my family also need my help too. In short, my time at David Wade Correctional Center has shown me that time is what matters most. Time devoted to the service and benefit of family, friends, and neighbors. What Scripture teaches is true. A man matures and puts away childish ways. I have turned my back on my past self, and I am devoted to living a just life. I will never cause you to regret sending me home. Thank you for your consideration.
All right, thank you, Mr. Barrera. We have a motion.
I make a motion, we go into executive conference.
Can we get the roll call, please?
Ms. Ronaldo?
Yes.
Ms. Stapleton?
Yes.
Mr. Barrera, we're going to be in executive session for a few moments to discuss confidential matters. We'll be right back. Just stand by.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
All right, we are back in session. We are prepared to vote. Mrs. Stapleton will be voting first.
Today I'm going to deny your parole based upon strong law enforcement opposition.
Mrs. Ledoux?
Mr. Barrera, I appreciate, first of all, your disciplinary conduct while incarcerated. I'm sure that the warden would like to have a dozen more like you in terms of how you have complied with the rules. And the other thing I want to say is that you've done a great job with your programming. We have some significant concerns from law enforcement, and I echo those concerns, particularly with the intimidation charge. And my vote today is to deny.
All right, and Mr. Barrera, I do echo what both of my colleagues have said, but for me today, the vote is to deny your parole based on the very strong comments and opposition expressed by law enforcement. So today, sir, your parole has been denied. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.